What's up, Ann? I am pumped and I am ready.
All right. I'm going to mute myself and turn off my camera so that my beauty doesn't take away from your presentation. But you go ahead and get started when you're ready.
Excellent. I'll get started now. Well, thank you for having me. Power Step, thanks for putting this together to have me appear here tonight, talking to you all and answering any questions. Maybe we can make this interactive. If not, I can answer questions at the end. But I'm going to get started. So this is the power of connecting with patients through YouTube, which this isn't something that physicians normally lecture about or talk about. And when I give lectures, I just lectured this weekend actually in Columbus, and I typically will start off my lectures as saying physicians are probably the worst presenters on the planet because we don't adhere to all the speaking rules. We get up and we put a lot of information on the screen. It's very convoluted. There's a lot of graphs and words, and then at the bottom we stick a reference, and by the time someone tries to copy the reference down, we're on to the next slide. So they become very boring. So I try to make my lectures a little bit atypical or unorthodox from what most physicians present with, which is probably has been what's led me down this path of YouTube. So why do I like working on YouTube, or what would have drawn me to YouTube, is kind of what I'm going to talk about tonight. And I'll give you a little bit of my story on how it's brought me here, how I've connected with my patients this way, and how it's changed my practice. So this is a picture recently that I had done by Kent State University's College of Podiatric Medicine, where I'm an alum from the Ohio College, actually. But they did a little documentary on me about what I have done in regards to, I guess, my practice and how it promotes podiatry, I guess. And they were excited to share what I've done because that's how they've kind of found me. And they're excited to share with Northeast Ohio that Kent State has a medical school. So we kind of did a little documentary and they followed me around. Hi, I'm Dr. Nick. I'm a podiatrist in Northeast Ohio. I love my job. I have one of the best jobs in the world because I get to come to work every day, talk to people. I have a fun staff. So I graduated from Kent State's College of Podiatric Medicine, which put me in a great position to advance my training before residency. It was one of the best moves I ever made. When we get people back to walking, the activities that they like to do, such as being active with their family, we're saving lives in podiatry. So that was just a little cool commercial that they did. And as I said, they found me through my YouTube endeavors and my social media presence, I guess. So before I explain how I've done this, I just wanted to kind of go over why this is important and how this actually works, because it's not just something that when we think of YouTubers, we think of it as the younger generation. We think of it as people just goofing around and doing funny TikTok videos, or, just humorous things or things that aren't educational. But when you think about it, anytime we need something, we go to the internet to find that information. If our refrigerator breaks, if our lawnmower breaks, we will try to fix it by going to YouTube and Googling, or YouTubing, I should say, that video on how to fix that machine that we're working on. When I was a resident, if we could have a video of a surgery we were doing that was priceless and they didn't exist, you had to buy them, and now they're at our fingertips. And I think people joke about, oh, did your doctor watch a YouTube video the night before your surgery so that they could learn how to do it? Well, yeah. I mean, that's a very knowledgeable way to learn something. It's probably better than going to a textbook and looking at still images that have no sound. Now, one could argue they're not peer reviewed, but it's kind of no different than being in the operating room with one of your peers watching them operate. So why do I have a picture of Epcot here? Well, because if you've ever been in Epcot's Oh, I can't think of the name of what the big golf ball is, but when you travel through, it's the experience of going through time. And they talk about how information is traveled. And one of the ways they do that is say the caves, the cavemen used to put their information on the walls, but the problem was that the walls didn't move. And then papyrus became very monumental because now it changed the way that information could travel, which changed the world forever because we weren't just putting our information in one place, it was traveling everywhere. And this, improved with the advent of the printing press, which then put it into mass production to the point where we saw phone books and newspapers, which, I think that some of us are probably listening to me say phone books and laughing. I just had a phone book come across our house last week, and I don't even know what a phone book is anymore. I don't look to see if I'm in there. And that, when I first started practice, was huge. And when you think about this, if you had one shot to get in the phone book, and then if you didn't get in, that year went by, you didn't have the ability to have people find you. Well, now that's changed with websites and internet, because you could change your listing every day and modify it and add to it and advertise in different ways. And not only is it advertising, it's free when you think about it. When I first started in practice, I did my own website for two reasons. One, because I enjoyed doing it, and two, because I felt that I could do it better than some of the people that I was working for. And actually, at the time, the people that I was working for, they didn't even have a website for the practitioners because it wasn't the norm. And then my colleagues would make fun of me because they said I was giving information away on my website. But that's not what happens. I was actually educating my patients, and then they would learn about me through my website, find me that way, and come into my office. Now that's evolved into social media, which is kind of how I found YouTube. And I don't even know that I would say I found YouTube. It was just a natural progression for me because I was doing a lot of information spreading on my website. And at the time, video was becoming more popular. So I guess I should back up and tell you a little bit about myself. You saw that picture of me with the GoPro on my head, and I'm wearing the, if you want to call them, funny looking Ray-Ban Meta glasses that record things, but I've always taken pictures of what I do in practice. My residency director, God bless him, Dr. Gafredo Ionero, who has since passed away, but he was a big photographer, and he welcomed my interest in bringing cameras into the operating room when I was a resident. And that has now also carried over into video. So as a consultant for other orthopedic companies, we've set the bar for when you give a lecture, what used to be images has now been replaced with video. So when I'm doing my lectures, instead of having a picture next to my words, it's now always video when I'm talking. And the only way that you can achieve that is to always have a camera going. So anytime that I'm operating, my GoPro is on, and I'm taking pictures of before and after, intraoperative photos, but yet there's always a camera running. And it started as this. It was complicated because when I first started doing it, at one of the large institutions I worked at, a university hospital, someone had taken a picture of an inappropriate portion of a patient and then shared it with other nurses. So then when that happened, it raised a concern about physicians taking pictures in the operating room. Well, that frustrated me because I thought, well, don't punish someone who's trying to share knowledge because someone used it inappropriately. So they weren't letting me use my camera anymore. And I used to have reps take pictures during surgery. So they said, no, you can no longer do that. You have to take your own pictures. So then I would break scrub to take the pictures. So then they bought me a camera and said anyone can use it. But the problem was the camera had poor resolution. So after meetings with the legal counsel at university, they allowed me to continue taking pictures. And then that's since evolved into me taking video in all of my operating rooms. And the point of it is, if you keep HIPAA compliant, you will be fine. So that's kind of the way I do it. All my patients sign consents, and they know that they're being photographed or recorded. So then what do we do with this? Why does it go to YouTube, or what am I trying to portray with it? Well, before I explain what I do with it, we need to talk about the power of all of this. So there's two ways that you can put information on social media. And I know the title of this is YouTube. So I'm going to gear it more towards YouTube. You can put a 1 minute or less video, or you can, which is known as a short on YouTube, or you can do a long form video. And I know if some of you are watching this and saying, well, I don't make videos, I don't care, just bear with me, because this is all important when you understand how we process information and what it does for us. So a long video is more of a instructional video. So if you're watching how to repair that lawnmower, you're going to go through it in a stepwise process. You'll watch the different parts of how the lawnmower gets taken apart, and etc. That's more of a long form video. A 1 minute or less video, and they've since changed this now to 3 minutes or less, but a 1 minute, or we'll just use 1 minute because it's still new. A 1 minute or less video is a vertical video that catches your attention and allows you to, I guess, get some information across to your listeners or to your viewers. And when you think about it, you only have a few seconds to catch that person's interest. So if you start a video with, "Hi, I'm Dr. Nick Campitelli of Northeast Ohio," you've lost your chance, and that person's going to scroll through. But if you change your way of presenting and that video pops up and you're like, "What's up? This is Dr. Nick. I'm going to show you how we put an insert in a shoe to help relieve a patient's pain," you're probably going to have a better chance of catching someone's interest. So I had a hard time learning to adapt to that because, as I said, physicians are the worst presenters, and we usually get in front of an audience and put lists up and read. So it was a little different in adapting to this. So once you understand the media, how does this work for you? Well, it's important because this is where your patients hang out. And believe it or not, that's where they are. Young people, middle-aged people, older people. I remember when I first started getting viral on TikTok, I was watching people in different stores or different arenas, if you will call them. And I remember seeing an elderly patient, probably in his 70s. Hope I'm not offending one out there. We all age. But anyway, he was in a tire store. I was getting tires changed on my car. And I was watching this guy on TikTok, and I was laughing because everybody made fun of me for being on TikTok, yet here's my patients watching it. But this is where your patients hang out. And it's extremely popular. This information is changing daily, but there's around 2.5 billion users monthly on YouTube, about 122 million daily, and 2,500 million active users as of 2022. And this is just growing exponentially. So how do they see you? Well, they search, right? When people are looking for something, they go into a search bar and they type that in. So you could say you Google something. Well, now people YouTube or Instagram something. So if they're searching for bunions, they're going to find information on YouTube about bunions. And if you're scrolling and you slow down on something, the more you show up, the more followers and subscribers you're going to get, and the more influencing you will become. So why is this even important? Well, remember, Google owns YouTube, and Instagram and TikTok are all indexed on Google, and Google crawls all of these websites. So if you're out there a lot, people are going to find you. So if somebody is sitting in Akron, Ohio, and they go on to YouTube and they type in minimally invasive bunion surgery, they'll find information about minimally invasive bunion surgery. Well, if I have a lot of videos on YouTube about minimally invasive bunion surgery, they're probably going to find mine because I'm in Akron. And if some of my colleagues have put some of these videos up, they're going to find my colleagues' videos, and they might watch one of my colleagues' videos. And at the end of that video, it's probably going to recommend another video on the same topic, which could then be another one of my videos. So it's a very intelligent way of spreading information to the people that need that information. So who is your audience if you're putting these videos out there? And this is something that you need to keep in mind when you're making them. So when I would make my videos, when I first started doing this, I was trying to educate patients. So if I wanted to teach a patient, let's just say, how to stretch their calf muscle for plantar fasciitis, I'd make a video about that. But then YouTube kind of became let's compare it to golf. Many of you out there listening probably golf, but will never be a professional golfer. So why do you keep going back out and golfing? Well, you want to make your score better, right? You want to try to lower your score or develop a better golf game, and that's kind of your outlet. Well, YouTube then turned into my outlet for becoming more viewed. It was fun. I thought, well, let's see how many subscribers I can get, or let's see how many views I can get. And I have a good friend that's in the entertainment business. He's a world-known magician and an illusionist, and we kind of started going through this together. So I was making more and more videos, and we would share ideas with each other. And I started to think, well, you know, my residents need to learn how to operate. I can put my surgical videos online. So I started putting videos of my surgeries online. But what you have to remember is your audience isn't just residents and students or surgeons. It's the entire world. So I backed up and I thought, well, I don't want to just make videos for patients. I'm sorry, I don't want to just make videos for surgeons or patients, because it's fun, but that's a small population of who would watch my videos. So if I'm talking to just surgeons or residents and I'm using big words to describe this, everyone's not going to understand it. So I started using lay terms. So if I'm making a video, I have three people in mind. I have the patients in mind, I have the surgeons in mind, and I have the general population in mind. So I usually say there's three people out there that want to watch my videos. A patient that might be having bunion surgery, and I'm just using bunion surgery as an example. A surgeon that might want to learn how to do minimally invasive bunion surgery. Or there's just some weird people that like watching surgical videos. So when I'm narrating a video, I try to keep that in mind, that I don't want to just use big words. I want to use any type of a layman's term so that this video appeals to a larger audience. Because think about it, if I had every surgeon subscribe to my YouTube channel, it really wouldn't change anything for me, because there aren't that many surgeons out there in the world. But if I could get a larger population watching my videos, now I've got more people liking and subscribing, that video is being seen by more people, and I'm educating patients, surgeons, residents, students, all with one video. And that's kind of what I decided to do. So, if you look at some of these, they're called thumbnails for those of you that don't realize when you see these pictures pop up, it's a thumbnail. So let's just take the image at the bottom left that says foot fracture surgery. If that's a Jones fracture where we put in a Jones screw, if I put up Jones fracture and didn't make the image in that manner, I'd lose a large amount of my audience. Is my toe broken? And that's a question that people are typing in, and that video gets a ton of views because so many people wonder if they have a broken toe, and they're waiting several days to get into their office to see a physician. They're watching that video because it's answering a question. So I try to make these thumbnails that would be interesting for patients as well as surgeons. So what does this do? Why is this important to me or to you who are watching this? What will this do? Well, one thing is it's free advertising. So think about it. Before, when you used to have to pay money to put an advertisement out there in a newspaper, now you can make a billboard type ad and reach the entire world, and it's free. And if you do it right, you can even get paid for it because you're getting viewers watching your channel. And patients find me this way. As I've told you, Google crawls all of these other websites and find out who you are. So if you're on all these other platforms, people are finding you. And one might say, well, and even myself, I thought when I first started doing this, are people going to take me serious, or are they going to look at me as this funny YouTube doctor or YouTube podiatrist? But it was the opposite. It built a positive reputation because now people would come into my practice, and when I would ask a question, to them saying, "Do you have any other questions about this?" I say, "No, I watched all your videos. I'm very confident in who you are. I'm ready to move forward with this." So it's actually built a positive reputation for me. And then it's fun. If I just happen to be lucky where this is something I enjoy doing, and it was a bisection or an intersection of my hobby with my professional work life. So YouTube's even recognizing doctors. So you'll see a bar that pops up on some people's platforms that says "from a licensed doctor." Now, this is a little side note. This is frustrating for me because in 2023, when YouTube first introduced this, myself and a couple plastic surgeons and a dermatologist were one of the first to get this "from a licensed doctor." And mine has since been taken away because YouTube does not recognize podiatrists as licensed doctors, even though we are, and we all know that. They haven't found a way through the World Health Organization to verify us. So mine is no longer up there. And the APMA has been working with me on this for the past year to try to get this rectified. But YouTube is extremely large and has a large population of employees. So getting through to the right people, and it's worldwide. So we're still working on this. So it's helped me reach people in different avenues. So I've had patients come to me. I'm very known internationally, actually, for minimally invasive bunion surgery. And I've had people come to me from different states just to have bunion surgery done because they found my videos on TikTok, surprisingly, was very popular. But the more and more people now see them on YouTube. This particular patient had a Lapidus type procedure done. She was 31 years old and it failed, and she found me on social media and drove 3 hours to see me to have this fixed because she wanted it fixed minimally invasive. And these are just some examples of ways that, we did some videos with PowerStep to educate their sales force and their team with how we're using their products and what their products are. And, they were able to find me through the same process of getting out and becoming apparent on social media. And I laugh when I show these videos. First it became embarrassing watching yourself on camera, but you have to realize the more you do it, the better you will become at it. There's like that 10,000 hour phenomena that Malcolm Gladwell talks about, where if you do something for 10,000 hours, you can become an expert on it. And I'm not saying I'm an expert on this, but I did find that the more and more I was speaking and learning to use my hands as I was talking, it becomes very comfortable. And now it's hard for me even to watch a video the same way on television when I'm watching people on the news, when I'm watching commercials during different television programs. I'm always critiquing that person talking and wondering what they're doing, or how can I learn from them, or what could I do better? What could they be doing? It's even hard for me to watch a video on TV now, like on a movie, because I'm watching the scenes change and I'm trying to understand why they chose that scene change, because that can change how a video is being made. These are just some examples of how I would make thumbnails for before and after bunions videos that I've made. Ingrown toenail surgeries have become extremely popular on YouTube. And it's funny because in the local high schools, they want to come to have their ingrown toenail done by me because I'm the ingrown toenail doctor on YouTube, and they recognize my videos and they want their video to be put online. So it's kind of it helped make me popular from that standpoint. But even with sharing the ingrown toenails, sharing my bunion videos, there's weeks where I will perform more bunion surgeries than ingrown toenails, just because of the power of people finding me that way. This is an interesting thumbnail because it says, "What's in this foot?" Whereas most physicians would create something like this and say, surgical excision of a ganglion cyst. Well, the overwhelming majority of people that would watch this video have no idea what a ganglion cyst is and don't use the words like surgical and excision. But when you see an arrow pointing to something that looks like a almond or a pistachio, or I don't know, Mr. Kane, if you're watching this, I'm probably describing the wrong type of nut. What's in this foot? And that's more eye-catching to somebody than to use a surgical terminology for this. And you might say, well, my audience aren't patients, or my audience are more educated. They're the surgeon. That's not how YouTube works. YouTube works by the more people that watch it, the more popular your video becomes. So even though this is geared at a layman's term, this video here, a common nerve release. When I was lecturing at a panel at Arthrex, an orthopedic company, one of my colleagues that I actually look up to was sitting next to me and leaned over and said, hey, Dr. Nick, thanks for putting up that common peroneal nerve release video. I haven't done one of those in a long time, and I watched your video before my surgery. So, that meant a lot. Someone that I looked up to was actually watching my videos to help learn how to do a procedure before surgery, because it was easy to find and it was out there. So the more people that watch them, the more times they get viewed. I've even done some examples of when I'm narrating a surgery, because the legal people out there say that you should not be narrating while you're operating, which all my surgical videos, unless stated, are me narrating after the fact. But sometimes I'll narrate a video of me where you can see myself on the screen in that little circle as you see here. And surprisingly, those videos tend to do better, because the viewers want to see who I am, and they feel like they get to know me by watching it. Here's a thumbnail of a surgery that I did that saved the leg of someone. And as I've told you, I record everything I do. So we documented her whole process that took over a year, and we have her before and after of walking with this, and it saved her leg. And it's just, patients see this and they don't realize that these things can be done to help them. And it's powerful. And it's not just entertaining. I think I've kind of talked to you about my ingrown toenail videos. I've even done some funny videos. This is one of my scrub techs that work with me. And surprisingly, my most popular video, that's a short video on YouTube, which has reached over 130 million views now and over 2 million likes, was how to put on gloves during surgery. And people just find it interesting to watch how a surgeon gets ready to operate and how we put on gloves. So my scrub tech and I put a video together that's kind of comical, demonstrating how we put gloves on. But it's interesting, and students can watch this. This isn't something that I think a lot of us find in our profession, that we brag about cutting toenails, but patients like seeing it and don't realize that there can be help for their elderly grandmother or their mother or somebody in their family that has these, that need this taken care of. And this thumbnail for a video has over 350,000 views, and people watch these and understand that this is helping someone. And I've even given tips and pearls on how to perform surgeries. Another way of demonstrating something, this intrigues the viewer. What did they find in this foot? And then once you click, I think it's pretty obvious that I didn't pull a golf ball out of this person's foot. But as surgeons, we describe masses by objects: a grapefruit size mass, a golf ball size mass. So even surgeons will comment on this video when they see it and say, oh, I like your incisional approach, or I never would have thought to do it this way, or what did you find in there? Even live chats, when I have gone live before, it's amazing the people that are out there asking questions. And even it's funny, because a lot of my patients who have become regular fans of me now, I guess you would call it fans or subscribers, but they're on commenting and asking questions. And, what does all this mean? But these are the people that recommend you and refer you. And when, everybody has foot problems. So if you're known for being on these platforms and your friends watch you, and the minute something happens to one of their friends or their friends, that's how they recommend you. And then they can say, who was that person again? Well, they can find you on YouTube.
I could have my Gucci on. I could wear my Louis.
That patient actually reached out to me from another country. This patient was from South Africa, asking questions. And you can have fun doing these videos about before and after. I've given
using here. You can actually pull the tool
reaction videos. I'm not a fan of doing reaction videos because they're not fun for me, but I will tell you the population loves watching reaction videos and reading comments on them. Pulling K-wires out of a foot, which, as surgeons, we probably think K-wires are boring and aren't interesting, but this racked up over 81 million views by just demonstrating that it's not painful to remove K-wires from someone's foot after surgery. And you'd be surprised how many people that have pins in their toes, and they have to have them taken out. They don't
One more to go.
ask you, they go on YouTube and say, is it painful to have pins removed? And these are the things that they're seeing. This is that
When
glove.
you're putting on surgical gloves, and the assistant
shows
always opens that glove, you put
how
your
we
hand
put on
in, then you
surgical
free up the
gloves,
sleeve
and
with the
it's
glove on
fun
your
to
opposite
just watch
hand,
the
grab
comments
the
that
next
people
glove to put on, open it
scrolling
up, and you
through
put it on the opposite hand. Then if you're
talking about this. So that's it. I would love to answer some questions. I also am very honored that PowerStep has partnered with us to do this tonight. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Ann, and I have some examples. I don't know if you guys can see these. Am I still sharing, Ann?
Yeah, I can take that away. Hang on. Takes me a minute to remember how to get there. There we
Beat
go.
you to
You
it.
did it.
So these are a great new tool from PowerStep. It's a traditional PowerStep orthotic that has their normal shell, and it has a Morton's extension in it. So this is rather new for us because most patients that have hallux limitus, or if we're trying to stop motion in their forefoot, the only option we had was a carbon fiber insert. And even myself, if I wanted to, when I first started in practice, to get a carbon fiber insert was impossible. I would send them to a shoe store that it was in town. They didn't have it. They'd send it to a durable medical equipment store. Most patients would get lost. Then I would start prescribing them on Amazon, saying you can go to Amazon and get this carbon fiber insert that goes into your shoe, and it's uncomfortable because now they're walking on this flat piece of metal, as they'll call it. But this is unique because it's comfortable because it has an insert, so you're not walking on something that's flat. If you're familiar with PowerStep, it has, it's one of the #1 recommended over-the-counter inserts on the planet, and it has that comfortable shell with that Morton's extension to reduce motion. And it's not super, super stiff so that it's painful or uncomfortable when they put it in, but it's great to reduce stress to the great toe joint. I've been using it in patients that have hallux limitus. I think one of my favorite ways of using this is post-operatively in bunion patients. I'll get these to the patient and have them put it in after surgery. So when I would normally tell them to wear a walking boot for 3 weeks, we're having them get into a running shoe in a week and a half sometimes with this insert, because I know it's going to shift their weight from off the great toe to a more lateral option, a more lateral based force instead of being under the great toe where we just did surgery. And this is just another way of spreading information. If you have a patient that needs something like this and you drop a video online about this new insert, it travels extremely quick and that's exponentially. And I think that we're going to see more and more of this in our industry, especially when you think about it. If somebody gets help from something like this and they go and post it in a chat room and a 1,000 people read it or talk about it, that's more powerful than an article that reviewed 50 patients that had it. Yes, it's not controlled and there's no peer reviews, but it's the patients that are sometimes offering options for other patients. So I thank PowerStep for having these available. This is a great new product. And for those listening, if you haven't tried it, I would certainly look into it.
Well, I have a couple questions. So no one has typed in any questions yet. So all of you guys that are watching and you've got a question in the back of your head, just take a minute and type it out. You can even make it anonymous if you are shy about it. But while we're waiting, I've got a couple questions.
Sure, but please, and before you ask, if there's anyone watching and they want to know how to get started on doing this, or what I did, or what cameras I use, I'd love to answer your questions. I know this isn't a social or a multimedia type informational platform, but I'd love to help with anyone starting.
So that was one of my questions is, what kind of equipment? Like, do we have to buy the super expensive stuff or can we get started right away?
We all have them in our back pockets. Our iPhone is the overwhelming majority of videos I put on YouTube were shot with my iPhone. I would focus more on getting the settings right with your sound because people like to hear your sound. You know, I use the popular Shure microphone when I'm talking now, which you don't need. The microphone on the iPhone is phenomenal. And our ears are also trained and our eyes are trained at watching videos shot on these devices. So that's what most people are using.
How much time do you spend editing these videos? Like, is that kind of a hurdle?
Yeah, it is. And I'll be honest with you, if you don't enjoy doing this, you won't do it. I spend about an hour to sometimes 2 hours a day doing this, which is a lot. But if I were to ask people, how much time do you spend reading books or watching TV every day? I mean, I bet there's a lot of people out there that watch an hour of TV a day. So when I'm sitting down watching television in the evenings or relaxing with my family, I'm editing videos, but it's an outlet for me. And it's something that I enjoy doing. My son edits videos. My kids watch them. I mean, they're not kids anymore. They're 17 and 19. But you know, my wife is always, "What are you editing now?" Or "What are you working on now?" It's my outlet, I guess I would say. And you know, Steve Jobs always said on things in life, if it's something you don't enjoy doing, any rational human being will stop doing it. So if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't still be doing it. And the analogy that I make to golf, you know, when you none of us are going to become professional, well, except Mr. Kane might be a professional golfer. I know where he belongs and lives. So I know that I'll probably never be a professional YouTuber, but it's fun to see those numbers grow. And we all have that competitive aspect of us. So it's just kind of cool to see how many views you can get on something or what works for something and doesn't work for something else.
Absolutely. And we've got a couple questions that I'm going to read, but going back to the 1 to 2 hours of time, I mean, like you said, you could spend it reading or watching TV. We all spend 1 to 2 hours a day building our business in some way or another. So it's just how you choose to spend that time. Okay, so a couple questions. Do you attach your videos to emails?
I do not.
And I know you can, like you could embed them, right?
You can embed them. I will embed them into tweets or X announcements or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I'll sometimes embed them into LinkedIn. I'm not big on email, so I don't really email. I don't have an email tree. I don't email to people. I get your emails, and I do. I know when you're doing your presentations. I'm just not a big email person, but you can email a YouTube link. So you're not just emailing the video, you're emailing the link. So certainly if you have an email server or list, this is another great way for people to see your videos, because I hate nothing more than getting an email and I have to scroll through all the legal jargon to find out what the person was mailing me. But if there's a video, chances are I'm going to click on the video and listen to it.
Well, we could talk for hours about the value of email, but I won't harass you about that. Another question.
I'm just not good at it. It's not that I disagree with it. I can't type as good as you, Ann.
Do you use your YouTube videos and point them to social networks like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or even LinkedIn? Side note, my son calls TikTok Tic Tac. Okay.
Yeah, my videos are the same videos going everywhere. So if I make a video for YouTube, it's going on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and sometimes LinkedIn. I'm not real big on LinkedIn because most of my viewers are patients, and as LinkedIn is more of a professional network. So some of my videos that I'm doing for certain, I guess, avenues will go on LinkedIn, but not all of them.
So that's another bone I can pick with you about LinkedIn. I happen to believe that LinkedIn is the most underutilized tool that we have business to business. But you're, like you said, your audience is patients. So
Well, I will tell you, you're right. Business to business, LinkedIn is huge, and that's why I say like some of the certain things I do, I know I have to go to LinkedIn for, and I wish I had more time in the day. I'd probably do it more and put more there.
yeah, it's true. Okay, so another question. Do you have a disclaimer on your videos?
I do not. I will say my channels have a general disclaimer that say this is not meant for replacement of going to a physician, but each video in of itself doesn't. No, and why? This is another topic that's we could go on and on for days. I like to think that I'm helping the world, and these videos are out there to help people. And I really believe that if I had a disclaimer and somebody watched one of my videos and it used it against me, I don't think the disclaimer at the end of the day would help me. So I, even though there should be more disclaimers on some of my videos, I'm trying to help people, and I just hope that if they get in the hands of the right people and that no one use them against me.
Do you monetize your YouTube channel, or is it strictly just for visibility and marketing?
No, it's monetized. The goal of me starting it wasn't for monetization, and the majority of videos that do bring money aren't the graphic videos, aren't the surgical videos, and aren't the product videos. They're the some of the interesting ones that aren't graphic. If that
Interesting.
answers your question. So if I put a full length surgical video and it gets 1 million views and then goes to 80 million views, I still have to go to work the next day.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really interesting what you've done with your channel because, like you said, your audience is the patient, and a lot of times they're looking for the quick and dirty answer for something that's ailing them, or they just have clicked on it because the thumbnail looks interesting and graphic. But if someone is looking for a specific thing, like you have said that you're a fan of MIS for bunions and you've kind of positioned yourself as an expert in that. So if someone is looking for a bunion surgeon that specializes in MIS, that's not something you can find in everyone's backyard. So they will take to the internet to find that. And chances are, because of your following on YouTube on other videos, they're going to find you. And I bet you have patients that travel to you from all over, don't you?
I do, and it's like I said, that was not my goal when I started doing this, and it's really an honorable thing to see that a patient found you that way, one, and then two, trust you because they watched your YouTube videos on and learned about your procedure that way. And as I've said, some of these patients that travel far, you'd think they want to spend a lot of time with you. They feel like they already know you because they've listened to you. They've talked to me. They know my spiel on how I do the procedure. And I make the joke, you're going to be in, you can walk the same day. You don't need crutches. You'll be in a cam walker for 3 weeks. You can walk a dog in 4 to 6 weeks and run in 6 to 8 weeks. There's times as I start saying that, the patients stop me and they're like, I know, I can walk my dog in 4 weeks. It's just amazing that they've already learned that before they've met me.
Yeah, that's great. Especially if you're a physician who has kind of developed a niche where they specialize in things like pediatrics or biomechanics or whatever it is. This is a great way for you to expand your patient base for sure. Just a side note, you know how like you click on a video on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, my son always makes fun of me because I go to Instagram for my content where like the actual cool people go to TikTok first. So anyways, apparently I'm in a mom group that just goes to Instagram. But you make the mistake of clicking on a video. Like I clicked on an earwax video one time, and then my entire feed was earwax for like 3 weeks, and I could not escape it. So chances are, if your patients are looking for things, they will keep finding you, and your videos will keep popping up. Talk to us a little bit more about the Power Step product and some of the other products, and how do you use those in your practice? How do you talk about them with your patients? That kind of thing.
So we dispense Power Step in our office. I have it set up where, I don't position myself as a salesman. So I talk to them about the ease of getting this the same day. So I'm not a big believer of custom inserts because the studies show that an over-the-counter insert can be matched. A custom insert can be matched with an over-the-counter insert, and you can get that to the patient the same day. It's less expensive, and they're walking home wearing them with relief. They can put them in multiple shoes. And I think it's become known in my practice for that. And I think Power Step's name has also positioned itself that some of my patients already come in with them and know that we carry them. And when they see that I have them in my office, they're like, oh, those are the ones I have. What's different about what you have as the doctor Power Step orthotic? And I can explain to them how that works and how that, these are the ones that the doctors dispense and recommend. And it's just, a little bit of a stronger construct, I guess you would say. But I think they feel better knowing that it's coming from a doctor. And we can compare them to some of these ads we see on TV for, I'm probably not allowed to talk about the competitors market for the commercials that we get bombarded with every day on TV with the particular type of orthotic, but it's an overpriced shell that's being dispensed, and patients need to know that there's a difference and you're getting the same type of treatment for a less expensive product that's coming from a doctor. So I just would encourage you, as any of the physicians watching this, to educate your patients on these inserts and try them and to use them. And sometimes, we wait months for people to get a custom insert, and they could have already been better by wearing an over-the-counter Power Step.
So do you carry their line or some of it in your practice, or do you mostly recommend that they purchase it online? How does that work in your office?
We sell them in our office, and I just tell them to ask my front desk on the way out. And I have a small carousel of them in my waiting room, and patients will get them that way. And then I just have our staff set up that when they're walking out, they dispense them to the patient as they're leaving. Sometimes I'll go get them myself. It just depends on the day of how it's going, but we dispense them the same day.
Awesome. I know we've got some of the Power Step team online tonight. If you guys could come back on so we can see your smiling faces. I've got a couple product related questions for you. Hello.
Oh, there's Mr. Kane.
Back Jay, from golfing.
Call me that, Nick.
Tell us a little bit more about your new product, the Morton's Extension insole.
Yeah, so brand new. That will be available starting Wednesday. We'll have full stock of that product. Obviously, Nick's been using it in his practice, testing it for us for the past couple months. So that will be available, ready to ship this week. It will be $40 to the doctor and $85 to the patient. So something a little bit more substantial, a little bit more margin for the practitioner as well.
Is this something that has a code with it, or is it just cash?
Nope, just like the rest of our products, it's cash and carry.
Awesome. Do you guys have this in stock and you're shipping it to practices and they're dispensing it in their offices, or are you direct shipping it? How's that working so far?
Yeah, so like I said, this is brand new. It was coming off the line actually today. So it'll be, because we are manufactured in lovely Wadsworth, Ohio, it will be in stock and ready to ship starting on Wednesday.
Wow, that's exciting. All right. So, Dr. Nick, what is going on for you coming up? Are you going to be anywhere? Are you lecturing anywhere? Can we catch any other webinars happening anyplace?
Thursday, I'll be at Kent State lecturing. Am I allowed to talk about that, Mr.
Talk
Kane?
about whatever you want.
Yeah,
Don't ask him.
You're in a safe place, Dr. Nick.
yeah, we're talking about kind of doing the same thing, talking to the podiatry students at Kent State on kind of how I've built my reputation, I guess, online, and I'll be sharing the same information that I shared this evening, probably in a very similar way. It's every time I talk, it's different. I'm not scripted. That makes me nervous when I'm scripted. I'm trying to think what else I have. No, I'm always trying to teach. I don't have anything lined up other than that, Anne.
When you say that you monetize your YouTube, would you say that the income covers, like if you wanted to outsource the video editing, if that was something that wasn't your passion, it wasn't your talent, would the monetization cover the cost of that?
I'm trying to think of how I want to answer this. Am I answering this for you or am I answering this for the people watching?
All of the above.
Okay. So to get monetized, you have to have so many views and so many subscribers. So if you set your goals to get to that point, it's extremely achievable. So when you first start and you publish your first video and one person watches it and you're frustrated, that's normal. But YouTube knows that. YouTube is going to share your video. So your goal is to get to the 4,000 subscribers, or maybe I can't remember the number. It's been so long, but there's an X number of subscribers and X number of hours you have to achieve to get monetized. And then once you get monetized, to answer your question of, will you be able to make enough money to outsource to certainly. I mean, I think it's just all a matter of how much time you want to put into it. The hard part about getting your videos edited it's a creative process. So my son's an editor and he doesn't edit my videos because he doesn't like that they're gross, one, and two, he doesn't anticipate what people want to see. He's very good at what he edits, but he's extremely good at it, but he doesn't know what my viewers want to see. But he knows, and I'll show him some of my videos and he's like, Dad, you let that run too long. They only need to see a half a second of that. I'm like, really? He's like, trust me, just make that a half second. You're going to lose people making it too long. But you can learn how to do this on YouTube. And then once you get yourself established, then you hire an editor. If you were asking me where would I get an editor, I would go to Fiverr and hire an editor that's somewhere in the world that's doing it inexpensive, because there's a ton of people out there that will edit your videos. Or go to a high school and find a kid that knows how to use the software and have them edit. Don't hire a high-end professional to do it, because for no reason why. But I mean, if you're not getting into this and you're worried about spending a lot of money on it, I would hire someone from those lines. But I also would tell you, allocate funds from newspaper ads and allocate that into an editor, and I think you'll do better than being in a newspaper.
Yeah, the reason I ask that is because, some people may think that editing and, I'm not familiar with how to post things like that and how to make stories and reels and all that kind of stuff. It could be a roadblock, it could be just a barrier of entry. And so if you can cover the cost of that eventually, I think that is, a good reason to go ahead and get started, even with that obstacle.
The best way to get started is pick a topic. Let's just say ingrown toenails. Go to ChatGPT and say, give me a 20-second narration on an ingrown toenail video. ChatGPT will tell you what to say. Say it in front of your camera, talking about ingrown toenails, and post it. And then do that 30 more times on the same topic. Because our mind works. The human being will watch a video about an ingrown toenail and then want to watch another video about an ingrown toenail and another video. And your video isn't going to get showed to that same person. You can make 30 ingrown toenail videos, and each video is going to get shared with a different audience. So if you're making an interesting 30-second video over and over and over again, different people are going to see it. And that's just going to get your process started. And you'll learn from each video.
All right, so I'm going to ask one more question about the fun side. I call it fun because it's like video stuff, and then we'll ask another product question. But if you're still hanging on, this topic is obviously really interesting to you. So I don't think you'll be bothered that I'll ask this question. I love to talk about tools. So Dr. Nick, what kind of tools are your favorite, like tech tools that you go to? Like, is there anything AI in the AI world that you're excited about that you've been testing? Oh no, I lost him. He's gone.
So I love GoPro cameras. They're inexpensive in the camera world. And this new one has a macro lens. So you can get it real close to that ingrown toenail and get a great shot of something in your office. If you're, draining a cyst or shaving a callus, whatever in your office, these are great tools to have. And I keep mine in my little case that goes everywhere with me. So I'm filming everything. My case is always with me. And I have this goes on my head when I'm operating.
I was hoping it would be a headband.
Yeah, I have a headband that's on. Hang on. Oh, I don't have it in here, but I have that picture that I show with my Ray-Ban glasses. Those are recording. So those always record. So you could be doing something and recording to get that point of view video.
That's awesome.
This is new. Do you know what this is? Anne?
I'm trying to think of something witty and I've got nothing.
Oh.
You're disappointed in me. I'm sorry. I'll do better.
It's called a loop deck. And if you can see it, there's a lot of different knobs on it so that you can fine tune your video as you're editing them. It's totally not needed. And anybody that's watching this, you don't need to get one of these. But when you're editing more and it's fun and you want to, nerd out a little bit with some new technology, it does help speed the process of editing up. But that's a little bit more advanced. I thought you would know what it is, Anna.
No,
I just got it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to add that to my shiny object list, and I'll check it out when I have time for shiny objects. Okay, so lately I've been trying to work more with AI tools and kind of sharing what I'm learning with our DPM and exhibitor audience. So how has AI made your life easier?
So AI has helped me with ideas and topics and phrasing. So some of my narrations, if I need to make a 20-second narration, I'll put it into ChatGPT and say, give me a 20-second narration on a ganglion cyst. And it gives it to me. And it's pretty darn close. I've also used AI as a voiceover. So I'll put that 20-second ChatGPT phrase into something from Artlist.io, and it'll read it for me and give me the audio. But I found that people want to hear my voice. So the videos are doing worse because people are saying, who is that talking in your videos? And I've had some of my patients say they like my charismatic approach to my narration. And I was thinking, I'm going to save myself time and I could be on the couch doing this AI voiceover. And it worked against me because people know that it's not me.
I have you reading me bedtime stories. That's what I go to bed every night.
Wouldn't that be funny if one of the voices became mine? You're like, God, I know that guy from somewhere.
It is true what you said, though, because even the videos that I watch that have tons of views and are very popular, if they have that voice that's not, that's the robot voice or whatever, It is a turnoff, that's for sure. So
yeah, I was
narrate
bummed.
your own videos. Jay, talk to us about PowerStep products. Like, what is other than the Morton's extension, what's something that maybe is a lesser known product that you guys are featuring or carrying, or where can we see you guys out in the world?
So one of the lesser known products that we launched last year, Dynamic Ankle Support Sock, DOS. It was obviously a little bit of a departure from our orthotic heritage, but it's basically 3 ankle braces in one. It's a compression sock. It's got a cage that mimics the ligaments of the ankle, and then it's got straps that are similar to obviously taping and strapping that an athletic trainer would do. So that brace is pretty new, innovative, something we love to talk about. And like I said, something a little different from PowerStep. And that's something Dr. Nick has been using as well.
Yeah, I'm going to read something off here. So I had a 13-year-old athlete that had an ankle sprain, and they came in because they were he had a couple fractures earlier in the year. He fractured his 5th metatarsal, and he broke his big toe. It was an open fracture of the base of his toe, and they came in. Oh no, my phone went dead. I want to read this. Hang on, I have another device. But anyway, they were there, and they came into the office, and they wanted an ankle brace, and they're like, "Hey, what kind of brace could you put us in so that he can go?" And she had a basketball tryout, and he had hurt the ankle, and they thought he had broke it, so they wanted something that they could get into that was going to be comfortable for him, because he's young and he hates wearing anything else in his shoes. He only likes to wear a certain type of shoe for basketball. And we were able to get him into a DOS ankle support brace. And oh, sorry, my phone went dead. So I'm on my iPad trying to grab you this, because I want to read back what he actually said.
Yeah, I was hoping you weren't trying to email.
Yeah.
Yes, big help, and he noticed a difference. Says it no longer hurts, and he does not really want to wear any brace because they are hard to take off and on, but he loves wearing this one because it's easy for him to get into his shoe, and it actually feels comfortable. So, I mean, it's an awesome brace. It's easy. It gets rid of swelling. You know, even for patients, I have patients that have peroneal tendon problems that'll be in a walking boot. And when they get out of the walking boot, it's nice to put them in something like this because it helps control swelling, and they can wear it in their shoes.
And Jay, you said it was like adjustable support, right? So it's not one of those compression things that like the rest of your leg is kind of spilling over the top of it.
It's graduated compression, so it's 8 to 15.
Gotcha.
And then it's obviously sized by the foot size. So
awesome. All right, where is PowerStep going to be in the industry? What kind of trade shows are you going to coming up?
yeah, I think we're about done for the year, which is great for me personally. And then obviously January we get right into it with New York Clinical, Florida SAM, ACFAS in February. So everything will start kicking off in the new year.
And they're at the top. They're the #1 over-the-counter orthotic.
I am very
Did I say, am I allowed to say that? I don't know if I'm...
Yeah, it's claimed. It's fine.
Yes, I am thrilled. It's exciting to have validation on a claim like that, and that is a big thank you to our audience for helping kind of refresh some data on the products that are available out there. So just a side note, little plug about our email list. I hope that you guys find value in the emails that we send. I really believe in everything providing value, and that even commercial things can provide value. So anytime you open an email, I actually do a little happy dance. Like, it doesn't go unnoticed. And so I want to say thank you for all of your minutes that you spend registering for these webinars and taking the polls and sending replies. It does mean a lot to us. So
Hey, can I make a video for you and spread the word that way?
I would love that if you do the editing. I mean, I do have somebody that can do the editing for me, but you've got a loop
No,
deck.
I'll do it. Well, it'll just be a fun. Yeah, we'll do something fun to spread the word on what you guys do.
I would love that. I would love it. So everybody,
Appreciate
look
you,
forward
Ann.
to that because now I have a new bestie in the industry. So it's 9:08. I won't keep you. It's past my bedtime.
Where are you
Okay.
located, Ann?
I'm in South Carolina, so I'm East Coast time. And I say it's past my bedtime, but I have a newborn baby that's going to keep me up all night, so it really doesn't matter.
Oh,
What time it
congratulations!
is. Yeah,
That's
sure.
exciting.
If you say so. I'm just kidding. Kids are great. Well, thank you, Power Step, for sponsoring this webinar. Thank you, Dr. Nick, for spending your time with us. And thank you to all of our attendees tonight for sticking around with us and registering and watching this. Like I said, the recording will be up later tonight if you want to, or later this week, if you want to share it with your colleagues or just watch us talk a bunch of times, that's fine too.
Thanks again, Ann.
Can I share it, Ann?
Yes, I will send you the recording as soon as I've got it up. Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And we will see you next time. The next webinar we've got is Dr. Ritchie on December 9th, talking about the Ritchie brace and billing and coding, answering all your questions. So we will see you then, if not before. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.